Hey everybody, welcome. This is Bonnie Bonadeo with the SOS Business Success Podcast. Welcome. Glad to have you guys here today. If you're listening to this as a record, which I think you are at this point, because that's all I'm doing it, and you're listening to just the audio version, I want to let you know that the video version is going to start being available on a Facebook page, and that is SOS Salon Business Podcast. So you can go there. It's a group page, and I'll have the video sessions available to it. It's nice sometimes to share the visual of the things that I'm exposing, and of course being able to see the guests that I have on as well here. So welcome. You know, we're all about building brands that survive while developing people that thrive. And that is something that has to be an ongoing commitment to you as a business owner in order to survive these very, very trying times that we're in right now. So part of what I wanted to share with you guys, if you're not familiar, if you haven't listened to this podcast, because it is pretty new. You know, I did a radio show for 5 years, a live radio show for 5 years. And it was very general in business. And I decided that I needed to narrow my focus down into more of a business conversation, more exclusively to salon owners. However, anybody in the salon industry, whether you're a manufacturer, a distributor, a sales consultant, a suite owner, a stylist, any of you guys would have access and probably gain some insight to this podcast. But I am gearing it more towards the salon owners. And part of that is because I'm in this mission to save salons and get them to be more profitable at the end of the day. And that's where the SOS kind of came in. So this was a vision from 2019. It certainly became somewhat of a reality into 2020 with everything that was happening with COVID. And part of what I want to be able to make sure that you understand is the framework that the SOS Salon Coaching Program and this podcast offers you. And the SOS stands for a strategic opportunity will equal success. So sometimes we try to do too many things and we don't have the same success. Sometimes we do something, but we don't do it consistent enough and we don't have the success. So if you look at strategic opportunities that are available to you, in other words, doing one thing, then that one thing will allow you to be able to have some level of success, and then you build on it from there. And the strategy that we look at to be able to build some of that success is in these 5 key areas: sales, operation, mindset, marketing, and education. And each and every week when I do this podcast, we're going to focus in on one of those 5 categories. So sales, operation, mindset, marketing, and education. And today we're going to talk about mindset, which also ties into what I call the 3C formula that I work in as a coach with my clients, okay? And the 3C formula is the foundation for being able to create connection, okay? Create connection, find compassion in some understanding. You know, so if it's something you don't know, or you have a different opinion, or you're not sure how to handle it, start with compassion. And then, of course, curiosity. Ask questions, because asking questions creates that connection and enforces that connection, but it also creates action in other people when you ask questions. So this 3C formula is a great coaching formula to be able to use if you're not sure. And I want you to use it on yourself as I'm sharing ideas or calls to action for you guys to be doing in order to be a more profitable business in there. And you'll see that sometimes with the way that I will invite guests on and the way that they interview guests, I will do this formula: connection, compassion, and curiosity. It's the way I ask questions to create connection. And then I'm looking for, you know, that level of compassion, kind of weighing the odds of 2 different sides or 2 different experiences that we may be in. You know, why is one salon more successful than the other? How do I increase my prices? In other words, these are things that don't have hard and true answers. Because there's a lot of information based on your business that could vary or be different from another business. So that's why the 3C formula is a very powerful coaching tool that I use. So today we're going to be talking about mindset in our SOS Salon Business Coaching podcast here. We're going to be talking about mindset as one of the key strategies, one of the pillars of success here. And the mindset part of it is it's personal. because it's very personal. I want you to think about it from a standpoint of how are you feeling? And especially today, how are you feeling? You know, we're the day after the election. Of course, there's no results right now. And one of the things that's showing up for us a lot of times, and especially when you look at it from a mindset capacity, is anxiety and uncertainty. And anytime you have anxiety and uncertainty, you don't make very good decisions. Okay, because what happens is that we go into our emotional mindset versus a logical mindset, and then we don't make decisions as well as we could. Okay, now, not to say that we can't be emotional, and not to say that we shouldn't have an emotional thought process to be able to help us through it, because it is a very powerful experience to be able to do that. But to kind of capitalize on the mindset, I want you to think about it that it is personal. So our title today for our podcast is Batten Down the Hatches. Now, if this is the first time you're listening to my show or my podcast or anything that I've done under the SOS or Save Our Salon marketing that you've seen out there, then you'll know that I love the ocean. I have recently got into sailing and boating. And in order for me to learn, because it's a whole new language, when you're learning a new skill set, when you're learning a new hobby, when you're learning things like that, it's also learning a new language. And in order to be savvy on the language, I really tied it into some business strategies, how I could use learning how to sail and living on a boat to strategies in business and strategies as a leader, strategies from sales, marketing, all of that. So today we're talking about mindset, and we're talking about batten down the hatches. Now, I know you've heard this expression before, right? Everybody's heard it, right? Batten down the hatches. And typically where it comes from is a storm is coming. Something is not normal. You need to prepare for something coming down the pipeline. And in order to do that, it becomes a mindset conversation. Are you prepared to have this overview of yourself? Are you prepared to go into your own internal being and evaluate where you're at when your mindset says, we got to batten down the hatches? Okay. Now, I know that everybody, when we were in the month of March and we were starting to go through COVID shutdowns, and it was, that was a true testimony of batten down the hatches. We have to close our businesses. We are closing our businesses to be able to prevent this virus from being a spreader. And we were uncertain how long our businesses were going to be closed. We were uncertain how long this virus was going to last. And now here we are, 6 months into this virus. And at this point, we've all opened up, back up, and we're doing business again. But we may not be doing business as confidently as we would like. Okay. And we may not be able to, and I know salon owners, you're a lonely group of people. You don't have a lot of resources to be able to connect with other salon owners. And so, a lot of these forums, Facebook forums and places like that you can go to ask questions are a great foundation for you. But a lot of times what you're not doing is you're not communicating what your needs are specific enough to be able to get the information that you need. And you're going to get a lot of answers or replies or comments that may be irrelevant to your particular situation because they don't know all the facts. They don't have all the facts, or you didn't share all the facts, or it may not be relevant to you at all in what they're doing versus what you're asking. So although it's a good place to start to be able to make those connections with other salon owners and gather it, one of the things that I want you to think about is how to be more effective with communications. And how to be more confident in your communications, that you probably know the answer to the questions that you're asking. And sometimes you just need that feedback or that sense of, okay, good, I'm on the right track because this is what other people said in there. But mindset in general, you guys, is personal. It's a personal place to be. It's not a business mindset. I don't even think there is such a thing as a business mindset. Yes, you have to have business experience and you have to be able to include a kind of a savvy business acumen to your business. But the truth is that the business mindset is how are you feeling personally and applying that to your business. Okay. So sales, marketing, operations, leadership, education, all of those things. You can attach your own personal feelings and mindset to it to be able to determine where are you successful, where are you not. All right. So here's kind of the history of batten down the hatches. It's pretty much saying you're preparing for trouble. In a funny way, it's kind of like, here comes the boss. All right. The term was originated from the Navy, and it kind of signified that a storm was coming and you had to actually literally fasten down holes and windows and areas and hatches and canvases that were openings to doorways that could fill up with water and cause you to sink. Okay, because the last thing you want in your boat is to be overflooded with water because you're going to sink, right? So, and then of course these strips of wood were actually called batten, but we're still kind of using this expression batten down the hatches today. And like I said, I know that you've heard it. Now it's so relevant to 2020 between everything that's going on with the elections and everything that has been going on with COVID. And, we're batting down the hatches right now because there is anxiety and uncertainty as to where we're going to go. And, you might all be in this position too, where you're thinking, no matter which way it turns, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be simple because we're a very divided country right now. And half the country is thinking, why would you vote for, that pompous idiot? And the other half of the country is thinking, why would you vote for someone that has, significant indications of dementia? So there's no middle ground here, you guys. We're very much a divided country. And I want you to think about that, because that level of uncertainty and anxiety that you're holding right now is a personal mindset that you're bringing into your business. Okay. I can't even imagine being behind the chair today and having or trying to avoid conversations that are related to the election. I'm sure that it's a very difficult day for everybody because we don't know and we are uncertain as to where it's going to fall. And we're uncertain about what the future is going to look like. We're very uncertain, Is there a chance that we're all going to get shut down again? Is COVID going to get worse? Is the hatred going to continue? Is there going to be rioting and looting that's going to go on in some of your cities? So much uncertainty. So today I'm glad that mindset showed up as the week that I was going to be doing it, because I always do it in a particular order called the SUM framework, the SUM strategy. And it just happened to be today. So I'm glad you're joining me for this conversation. But I want you to think about, where you stand on this and what uncertainty and anxiety is showing up for you right now. Because now what I want you to do is I want to create a specific call to action for something that I want you to do between now and the end of the year. And again, you guys, this, if you want to see this list, I'll have it as a download. If you want to go to the new group that I just created, SOS Salon Success Podcast. SOS Salon, I'm not even sure that that's it. Let me think about it for a second because I just created it. SOS, Salon Success Podcast, okay? And go to that group, jump into that group, and then what I'll be doing is I'll be obviously uploading the videos in there so that you can listen and watch with the information I have, but I'll also be converting some of these call to actions in some free downloadable PDFs so that you have access to be able to do this. But let's get started with the 10 things I want you to prepare before you close out your year, all right? Now, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm trying to create a connection with you to have you get out of this anxiety and uncertainty and mindset. Okay. So I'm trying to be, and I want to be compassionate with you in this process, but I'm going to be very curious with you in asking you some questions. And these questions is going to be your homework. It's going to be what you need to do to be able to reduce anxiety and uncertainty. And I know some of you probably don't want to do this and you're avoiding doing this, but when you have all the information in front of you, you can make better decisions. So I want you to have the information in front of you. Go. So if you listened to the podcast last week, I had April McDaniel from Copsa Odie on there, and she talked about knowing your numbers, and she had a free download opportunity as well for you guys to be able to look at, like, how savvy are you with having that business mindset. So it was a great episode. Please go back and listen to it. And also I'll make sure that the download option is in there in the Facebook group too. Now, the podcast itself is on Anchor and Spotify and all this, so you can find the podcast there. All right, number one, here we go. 10 things to prepare to close out your year. Number one, look at your numbers. Okay, so I want you to run your reports, your sales reports, okay? Whatever those reports are, that sales, retail, everything. Like what is your volume that you're doing? And I want you to run these numbers from January 1st of this year to October 31st of this year. If you have a comparison, you're going to need a comparison from last year at this same point so that you can see, are you up? Are you down? Or are you about the same from last year? Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to be down just because we all closed for a certain amount of time to COVID, some of us longer than others. But I want you to be able to determine, are you up, are you down, or are you about the same, okay? Now, when we look at the up, down, or about the same, I want you to convert it into numbers and percentages. How much are you up? How much are you down? And what is that percentage of business, okay? So most of my clients at this point are saying that they're averaging 15 to 20% down. So let's just use 20% as a number. So let's say that they're 20% down from last year, okay? Sales from last year. And that equates to, say, $100,000 in sales, all right? So we're talking about sales here. Now, you have to then be able to look at this and say, is there any way that I can make up this $100,000 in the next 2 months before the year ends? And if the answer is no, and it's okay, it may be a big fat no, all right? But what can you do? What can you do to make up some of those dollars between now and the end of the year? And there's some very easy strategies that I'm going to share with you to be able to do that. Okay. So question number 3 here, are you profitable? Okay. So if your business is down or even at this point, well, you could even say up too. Are you profitable? Meaning, are you drawing an income? So we know that salons, for the most part, only average about a 10% profit margin. Okay. So with everything that's been going on this year, the expenses that we've had to invest in order, like, PPE stuff, and then of course being closed, are you profitable? Are you drawing an income? Or are you breaking even? Or are you just able to pay your bills? Or are you not even able to pay your bills? You have to determine if you're even profitable at this point, because you can't, you do not bury your head in the sand at this moment. Okay, get your head out of the sand and be able to look at it, because you have to know that if you're down at the bottom, that there's a wave to be able to get over. All right, and then there's another wave to be able to get over. All right, so you're riding out this storm, and you got to be able to make sure that you're pointing in the right direction as these waves are coming up to you. You can't just kind of haul right into them, because it's going to cause some damage. You're going to get defeated. You're going to get exhausted. All right, so look and see if you're even profitable at this point. There is hope for you. I want to guarantee that there's potential hope for you, okay? All right, so number 4, I want you to look at the 80-20 rule. You've all heard this, right? So who are the 20% that are bringing in 80% of these dollars? Who are the 20%? And if you are one of the 20%, okay, then for the next 2 months, you might need to take on double duty job opportunities, because you're going to need to create a strategy. You're going to need to figure out ways to increase your sales, and you're going to need to market your ass off, all right, in order to kind of start making up this loss, or being able to get yourself out of this storm and get back to calm skies and calm seas, all right? So who are the 20% bringing in the 80%? Again, evaluate if you're one of them behind the chair that is doing this, all right? And now what I want you to do is I want you to revise this to a 30-40-30 rule, okay? So 30, write down 30/40/30, okay? Now what I want you to do is I want you to look at who are the 30% that are bringing in the majority of the money. And here's the action I want you to do. Acknowledge them, thank them. Let them know you're there for them. Ask if they need anything, okay? Because what you want is you want to show that you value, respect, and appreciate them, so that they will continue to have that same momentum moving through the next couple of months. All right? You want to acknowledge them. because people do better when they are valued, appreciated, and respected. All right. Now, you can do something for the entire team, but that's a strategy that we'll talk about in the end. We're just talking about the 40, 30 people right now. All right, so number 7 is create a support system for the middle 40. Okay, so when you think about 30 on this end, 30 on this end, and 40 in the middle, the 40 in the middle have a chance to lean towards increase, or they have a chance to lean towards decrease. Okay, they're kind of floaters, and the problem with the 40 in the middle is that they probably just lack consistency. All right, the 40 in the middle might be people that reduce their hours, have to be home with their kids, their clients aren't coming back is often type of thing. So you have to be able to kind of like just look at this 40% in the middle and say, what can I do to lean them towards increasing their volume? All right. And then to be able to, and you're going to create a support system for them. So you're going to say, you know, what can we do to be able to get from here to here? All right. What do we need to do to get from here to here? And I'm going to share with you guys the 3 things I want you to look at with each and every one of your employees to be able to do that evaluation. And then of course, number 8 is coach on expectations to the bottom 30. All right. So these are the people that you need to maybe provide a little bit more direction and assistance and coaching to is the bottom 30. Right. Now they might be the bottom 30 because they're new. They don't have a full-on clientele yet. They might be the bottom 30 because they only work part-time. They might be the bottom 30 because they maybe don't have the high-level clientele that maybe it's more colors and higher income services that they're providing, okay? But you have to be able to put a strategy together and coach them on their expectations in order for them to be able to do better. It could be that they're not working enough hours. It could be that, you know, they're taking too much time off. Like that's happening a lot right now as people are taking time off, all right? So those are the 3 areas that I want you to look at. Now let's talk about what specifically I want you to look at in all 3 of these areas with these 3 segments of people here. I want you to look at client count. All right, client count, the number of clients that they service. So this should be easy to provide on a report. You should be able to see how many clients they've done, you know, and what their average is, their average client count. So if you have 100 or more clients, then you're probably a stylist that is definitely making a living. All right. If you have 130 or more stylists and you are, you know, and you have a balanced, but maybe you're on the higher end of a pricing structure, you're definitely making over $100,000 a year. Okay. And so you have to be able to look at their client count. If you've got stylists that are working pretty much, you know, 30 hours or more and they have less than 100 clients, then the goal is that you need to put together a campaign for new clients, all right? The second area that I want you to look at is pre-booking, okay? The more that you can pre-book a client to be on your books, the more opportunities you have to increase your income, all right? So are they pre-booking? You know, I'm imagining that your top 30% are probably better rebookers than your middle and your bottom 40 and 30%, right? So be able to look at that. 78% is a good, you know, benchmark that if they're pre-booking, then they're a successful, solid stylist at this point. If it's lower than that 78%, let's say that it's around 50%, then you need to put together not only a strategy, but a script of how to have them have conversations with their clients so that they can pre-book. And remember, that goes back to the 3C formula: connection, compassion, and curiosity. Okay, connection, compassion, and curiosity. And then the final thing I want you to look at is the number of new clients that are coming into your salon, but also returning. Now, this would mean that you need to go back, 3 months, say. And at this point, we can do a fair evaluation on this because most of us were all open by August or early September. So you're looking at, say, August, September, October, 3 months. How many new clients came in per each of your team members here? And how many of them have come back? All right. And if it's a really low percentage that you have them back, then you need to create a strategy to be able to support them in a new client return. So pre-booking would obviously help, but this might be a campaign that you take on, or that you have a front desk take on, whether it's a bounce back coupon to those clients to get them back in, whether it's picking up the phone and inviting them back in on a special savings, sending an email, whatever that is. Look at your new clients so that you can get them back in. If they've already been there once, they need to come in 2 or 3 times before they become consistent, before they're comfortable with it. All right. So those are the 3 things that I want you to look at: it: client count, pre-booking percentage, and new client return. If you have a new client return that is, 50 to 70%, then you're doing pretty good. Okay. You're doing pretty good with a 50 to 70% client return. If it's lower than that, then the client does not like what they're getting, or does not see the value in coming back, or you haven't made any communications with them to encourage them back. Again, sales and marketing, always goes to sales and marketing. All right. Now, based on those 3 things, I want you to create a strategy that's going to provide opportunities for success. Okay, that's again the SOS strategy right there. The SOS framework: strategy, opportunities equals success. Because ultimately, you guys, I want you to weather this storm, and I want you to open your hatches, and I want you to grow. Okay, I don't want you to feel like you're in this storm forever here. Now, if you need assistance with any of this information, if you need assistance to be able to understand this part of it a little better, then I'm going to encourage you to set up a complimentary call with me. Let's see if there are some opportunities for us to be able to work together. Now, I want to go back because I gave you a lot of information that was very sales driven, that was somewhat marketing driven, but also operation driven, because I asked you to know your numbers on the very front end. So that's a financial part. So how is this mindset? Okay. Well, data tells a story that you need to read. Data always tells a story, and you need to read that story, and your numbers won't lie to you. Okay, can't guarantee that other numbers are not going to lie here, but your numbers won't lie to you. And when you can put your eyes on these numbers and really see where you're at, you have a greater chance of being able to get to a new place, to move it forward, okay, to evolve, and put that strategy together. Now, the strategy part is the part that we're going to talk about in marketing, which will be a conversation that we're going to have next week, because I'm going to talk about Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday, how to be able to create some incentives and promotions for clients to be able to get them excited. But you're going to have to listen next week, because you got to get started on some marketing to get clients in now. All right. So that's why it's a mindset conversation, because data tells a story that you need to read, and your numbers won't lie to you. You are the captain of your ship. Okay. Nobody else is the captain of your ship. You have to start being the captain of your ship, and you have to start managing it. And you have to let your team know, hey, we're in the clear. We can move forward. The storm is past. All right. Now, I don't think the storm's going to go away anytime soon based on coronavirus and based on what's happening with the election right now. But the more you know about your business right now, the more you can plan of how you're going to go into 2021. Because again, we don't know what to expect, and there's a lot of uncertainty that we're up against right now. But I want you to prepare for smooth sailing. And again, if you need the support to be able to have these strategic conversations with me, I want you to do it now. I don't want you to wait till later to do this. Set up a free call with me now. Now, there's going to be a program that I'm going to be offering at the beginning of the year, and it's going to be a 12-week program that I'm going to take you through all these little strategies that you will do during that week that we're together. And then the next week, we'll see what the results are. And then we'll have another strategy to do. It's going to be very hands-on, but it's also going to be very fun, because any one of these strategies that I teach you over the 12 weeks are things that you can duplicate over and over and over again, so that you feel as though you're putting forth sales and marketing efforts each and every time that you're investing into your business, investing time into your business, investing strategy into your business. So you can get the free session with me now if you go to SOSSaloncoaching.com. Okay, so that's for the free session. If you want to get on the waiting list for the 12-week course, then go to www.saveoursalons.club. Okay. saveoursalons.club. Now that's a vanity, those are vanity URLs here. So you got to put in the HTTPS, or you got to put in the www when you Google them. Otherwise they may not show up. All right. So free session with me, SOSsaloncoaching.com. You want to put your name in the hat to get on the wait list for the 12-week course, saveoursalons.club. All right. So that is how you guys can access me and allow me to be able to help you. Obviously, in the free session, I promise you I'll give you some strategy to be able to apply immediately. And then we'll talk about, what it looks like for the coaching program or the 12-week course that's coming up, and if that's for you. All right. Now, join me next week again, because we're going to go into the marketing conversation of our SOM framework, and we're going to talk about Black Friday promotions, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday opportunities. All right. Thanks for joining me today, you guys. And remember that I'm here to help you build a brand so that you can survive. But mostly I want to develop you as a leader so that you can thrive. All right. We'll talk to you next week.